You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Because Klaus will literally take a battle axe and lop your head off. And if he somehow misses, his wolf friend will devour you whole. Happy holidays, happy new year, Merry Christmas, and all the good tidings. Most importantly, happy Life Day here from Geekscape. This is our final installment of 2025 for the Geekscape Book Club. Very excited to be talking about something that perhaps could be a little bit more timely if we had done it a week earlier, but boy, it's been crazy. And settling in on a nice late night Boxing Day stream with my pal Eric Connor. How are you, sir?
Happy holidays to one and all. Ho, ho, ho. I have a machine gun, and his
Yes,
name is Klaus.
his name is Claus. And we are talking about Claus. And there was a little whoopsie daisy on my part in that I read the most recent Claus story. And it's interesting because this sort of origin of Santa Claus, what they do after this initial run, this initial 7-issue series that Eric and I are going to talk about by Grant Morrison and Dan Mora, they do kind of like the Doctor Who Christmas specials, except it's the only episode. So they would do like Christmas time one-off stories. And I said earlier to Eric when we were getting settled in that don't worry, no one will be watching this, except I should count on our buddy the One Pun, who joins in with a happy drunksmith. So as long as you're responsibly drunksmiths and Sesmus and everything in between, we appreciate that, the One Pun. So this is a kind of a fascinating attempt at filling in some details on Santa Claus. And it's Grant Morrison, whom we've talked about previously for his run on New X-Men. And when I pitched this to you, it's probably a little bit more than a month ago. What were your thoughts? I believe I shared the same image that our visual audience sees right here, where we have a not white-haired Claus with a deer carcass over his shoulder and his wolf pal with blood all over its face. Did you think like, oh, this will be a good one for the kids?
Well, I was thinking like finally I'm seeing a version of Christmas that I was taught in my Jewish household. That it was a time of violence and danger and angry bloodlusting wolves. And so thus this just sort of matched what I always assumed. I don't care how many Dudley Moore Santa Claus movies there are. This is the Claus I can get behind.
Yeah, and it's kind of fascinating because it's basically like I couldn't even imagine the exponent, but it is an exponentially far darker version of, I guess, the Year Without a Santa Claus. It's one of those specials. I think Year Without a Santa Claus is the one where Mickey Rooney is Santa Claus. So it's the best one, Eric. Now, I do need to, just for a little way of background, I've known plenty of Jewish people who have never seen any of those specials, and it's a point of pride. Have you seen any of the Rankin Bass stop
Oh, sure.
motion? Yeah, I feel like as someone who studies media and film, you need to at least watch them objectively, even if you didn't watch them every December.
Oh, of
Uh,
course. And they're also like the stories are, a little bit yeah, a little bit dated maybe, but they're beautifully rendered. I mean, I always enjoyed watching like all the Christmas specials. And even I mean to this year, they show Christmas Story all day on TBS or
all day.
TNT.
Yeah.
And I actually sat down and watched. I think I got to watch the whole thing this year. Usually I just do pieces. And I do somewhere around here. I have a signed picture for. Oh, here it is. From Scotty Schwartz.
Hold on. Keep holding it for our visual audience. Oh wait, I know how to do this. Alex and Judah, don't try this ever. I triple dog dare you. I love that. That's from Flick. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Scott
And
Schwartz, who went on. Oh, hello. Went on to a very short career in the adult industry.
Is that true? I didn't realize that that was accurate.
Yeah, it was Sky. I'll have to find the title. Maybe I'll find it by episode's end
Yeah.
for those who are trying to figure out to what's the perfect nearest day film.
So
Scotty grew up all sorts of ways.
that is kind of the long rounded, long-winded version of me asking you, have you ever seen The Year Without a Santa Claus?
That one I don't think I did see though.
It's terrible. It's
Oh,
really not
now I
good.
want
Yeah.
to see it.
I
Wait, is Mickey Rourke his character from
Mickey
Breakfast at
Rooney.
Tiffany's? Mickey
Uh,
Rooney.
could you imagine Mickey Rourke in a Christmas special?
As
That
Johnny Handsome.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's not doing his character from Breakfast at Tiffany's. Unfortunately, some would say. So the whole point of that is there is this town where they're not allowed to celebrate Christmas. They can't have toys. They, it's definitely a lot cutesy because this has the snow miser and Mother Nature and all this stuff, but it's basically the blueprint for this, where it's like, this is a way more severe version of it, but it's like you've got the Baron
Hmm.
and his son, and all the toys go to his son. No one can have toys, and they're forced to work all the time. So old Chris Kringle has to sneak in with his handmade presents. And as I was reading through the first issue of this 7-issue series, I'm like, this is kind of amazing that Grant Morrison clearly, like, he's like, oh, I know I don't know, how to pull a Zack Snyder on this, So I found that to definitely be interesting, but what what are your thoughts as you begin this tale, reading it for the first time, Claus by Grant Morrison and Dan Mora?
Well, one, I was really taken aback by how beautiful the illustrations were. I mean, I thought this was, we've come across some really top notch titles over our run on the Geekscape
Yeah,
Book Club.
don't
Um,
worry, it's continuing, folks. We
oh
got
yeah,
more for 2026.
this is not our swan song.
You can't get rid of us that easily.
But this, I absolutely loved just the imagery. I found myself really kind of getting swept up in that. I love how the figures, how the people are drawn, the settings, and even like the story of this is one that I think it was very clever how they worked in so much iconography of Christmas, and like you were saying, the Zack Snyder angle on it. Like they kind of put everything on its head, and yet really the idea of the spirit of Christmas is still very alive in this thing,
Yeah.
despite all the sort of bloodshed and mayhem. I think it's a surprisingly rich Christmas tale amidst all the uh, bloodletting and whatnot.
Yeah, and in sort of explaining the story, Wikipedia mentions that it's basically the Batman Year One of Santa Claus, which Batman Year One, of course, the first installment of the Geekscape Book Club a couple years ago. But they also talk about how Santa Claus is a V for Vendetta and Robin Hood style figure. Fighting Lord Magnus, who, in some ways hit a little close to home, reading about Lord Magnus. But it's such a fun idea. That's why I was excited to have this PR December entry for 2025. And someone named Wrestling Community checks in with Aloha from Chicago. So yeah, you've got
Wrestling community, you were
you've
seen.
got the WWE, but I've got Grimace on my sweater, so uh, we'll call that a push.
I think so. I think it's an even match there. I mean, I think maybe King Kong Bundy is on here or Hillbilly Jim, so not far
I
down the
mean,
road from Grimace.
Hillbilly Jim is one of the real ones. It's if they were included in the animated Rock and Wrestling TV series. And I love that Wrestling Community says connecting people through wrestling, depending on who is asking. We
Cool.
appreciate that.
I like a little bit of mystery on that
Yeah.
response, though.
Well, to wrestling
Honest.
community, I would say know your role. See what I did?
It's still real to me.
Yeah.
See what I did.
Well, I would never say otherwise. That's for sure. Also real to us is great Chris Kringle, Klaus here, and I, when we come across one of these books and the artwork is impressive, I'm very excited because there are those times where we're like, ooh, and then there's also those times where it's like, oh, issues 1, 2, and 5 looked good, but 3 and 4 fell off a cliff. So it's very interesting. Some would even say that all the issues were good, except there's a bit 6, 7 in there, and that was very inappropriate. So but we move on.
Hopefully 1 year from now, that will be irrelevant.
Well, we'll see, because
God willing.
my kids were each given 6, 7 Christmas ornaments with cartoon likenesses of themselves on it. So we'll see. But yeah, so hopefully people who are watching this 2026 and beyond, trying to find some Christmas content, are like, when the hell was 6, 7? And if you ask me in 2026, I'll just say, I have no idea. So, but so just, I was sharing for our visual audience, some of the images you sent me. And this is one of those times where I really wish I had downloaded them. But even here on this size screen, you can kind of see just the kingdom, I mean, it's the attention to detail goes a long way, I would say this looks better than even Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which of course is the Holy Grail of storytelling in this time period. But
the most accurate representation of this time period.
I would say that's accurate. Yes. Yeah. So I thought that I was impressed, because you have a variety of settings. You have some of the more mystical passages, which I know you have something from there. But by the way, the quote, "We're all bones in the end. Merry Christmas, y'all." But there was one. This is the one I was looking for.
Oh
We'll get
yeah,
back to some of those other ones.
There's some weird crap going on in them woods. Yeah, all of a sudden, like, I expected to hear the soundtrack to Hair play during these moments, and it did bring up that one question of, like, so the spirits of the forest deliver plastic toys, or I guess they're wood. But I had a few questions about the manufacturing of toys by these spirits and imps and whatnot. And again, I understand it's supposed to be like the elves. That might be the one the one piece that I think they could have found maybe a little bit better translation of that part of the Santa mythology. But I will say there was something to be said for, like, Klaus is hitting he's hitting the mushroom pretty hard in these sections.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like when Homer goes to the chili cook-off, and some of the visions he has, because it all comes back to The Simpsons, folks. But I thought that the psychedelic nature of it, the healing properties, the magic, the way that it really makes the Claus character larger than life, I think was an interesting take, but it also just beautiful to look at. Where again, our audio audience is like, okay, you keep saying it, but you don't show me. And we have this charming image, says me, that I think is, Lily the wolf is,
Lily.
just helping out, and
yeah. And by the way, as for our radio audience, I'm holding up a bandaged finger because one of my wolves, I guess, wasn't taking kindly to my trying to take away my mail from his mouth. Not my maleness, my, like, actual physical mail.
So do you mean MAIL? Because I heard that
did.
as MALE. So.
Yes, MAIL. We don't have that kind of relationship.
No,
so yes. So I also did for a moment there, and I know they sort of rumor that he might be a werewolf. which
Yeah,
for
that gets thrown around a lot. So I was wondering if
yeah,
we were maybe going to get that.
and then it turns out no, it's just his buddy. But then I love that turn that the wolves are basically the reindeer.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Which
yeah. That I feel like you have that in your secondary email, right?
oh
The
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It goes in sequence. There was
That's
before
okay.
we,
I do kind of
I
want to
think it was
jump to that one. So
before we went to Wizard of Oz and after we went to Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. It changed a lot of things for me.
Oh, is that what you did? You saw
We
the
did.
because you were just in Vegas.
I was.
I'm going myself tomorrow. How was Wizards of Oz at the Sphere? I know that we're here to talk about this book, but
Oh, it is. I mean, it's just great. I mean, like they do so much stuff with this, and the thing I was surprised about is how much they actually. At times, it kind of has like that Star Wars special edition feel where they're
oh
changing so many of the backdrops and backgrounds.
yeah,
But that tornado sequence, and I mean, it's one of those like it's bigger than advertised, which I thought was impressive because all the YouTube clips are incredible. But this being there, it really if you don't feel something watching that, then you don't feel anything.
yeah. We'll get back to what we're talking about in a moment. But it's
Well,
interesting you mentioned the Star Wars special editions because I was talking to my brother-in-law about how next year is 2026, but in 2027 it'll be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, and they're going to put it back in theaters, but it's the original version, the
oh
pre-special edition, and I was just saying that the special edition now comes off so much more dated than a film that is 20 years older than it, the
yeah,
original version of Star Wars.
well,
Uh,
because I think also too when you try to add some CG, it's kind of like what they did with ET. It
yeah.
actually it does it makes it those scenes that they added feel more out of place than the rest of it. And so I happy Life Day. Oh, I was wearing the Life Day shirt yesterday. The one,
I had it yesterday too. Oh, look at those
yeah. I'm sorry.
twinsies.
I'm so sorry. One pun. Uh, and but in the case of Wizard of Oz, it's already so kind
Yeah.
of like storybook that it actually works quite well. Like I didn't find myself minding all the digital trickery they added, and they needed to because if you're
Yeah.
going to put it on a screen that big, it's going to look kind of ratty. So they really
Yeah.
did have to change up the backdrops considerably to make it work. And I got to see the original Star Wars pre-special edition over at the Academy Museum a couple years ago. And I surprised Alex by taking him where it doesn't even say Episode 4; it just says Star
No, it just
Wars,
says Star Wars. Yeah.
the Star Wars, maybe.
No, no, it doesn't say the Star Wars.
Okay.
That was the first draft with like Luke Starkiller or
Oh,
whatever.
right.
By the way, our visual audience can see there is a VHS right here. That is the non-special edition of all three of the original trilogy. But even though it always goes back to The Simpsons and Star Wars, we are talking about Klaus, and I do love this idea that you referenced, where the wolves are basically the reindeer, and I love this sort of James Brolin look of Santa right here, where you're like, yeah, I would, he's just like, oh my God, he's like such a, well, first of all, he's such a good man, but you know, uh,
A touch of Kenny Rogers as well in there. I think you could made me think
yeah,
about Kenny Rogers Roasters, which
Wit
I
well,
never.
and considering that you're newly returned from Sin City and I'm about to go there, it is important to remind everyone to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away when the dealing's done. Uh, the one pun, if I had the drop, I would play Millhouse saying, "No one told me there would be boasting," but I don't have drops. I don't have a soundboard. Oh, if I get a Roadcaster, look out. It's
God
gonna
help
be
us all.
ugly. Yeah. So let's just be glad that I have it. But anyway, I just love the inventiveness, the ingenuity of so many of these things that we get to see in the story, and it is ultimately a fairly simple story. Well, it's interesting though because the backstory seems like Santa Claus might be Loki. He might have been born from the frost giants, you know? And the fascinating thing about that is that the one I accidentally read from 2019 uh, has the onset of a version of Ragnarok happening, and they mention how Thor and Odin are all long dead. That sort of a thing. So anyway, it definitely framed this a little bit differently, but
a Santa Claus Thor crossover, though, I think I'm here for this, and I'm sad Marvel. I don't think Marvel's ever done that team up, and shame on them for not.
No, and they had, there was a book that they've had various iterations of called Marvel Team Up. I don't believe one of them was ever Santa Claus. And they even did Spider-Man and they're not ready for primetime players.
Sure.
And I do not believe they ever had Santa Claus. There was a Marvel 2-in-1 where the Thing would team up with people, but I don't think Santa Claus. I mean, that's the one shot that they need,
Well, for me, the idea that Garrett Morris made his way to the pages before Santa Claus, it does line up a little bit with my ideology. I did get to meet Garrett Morris. Yes, there will be boasting. And he accidentally hit my wife in the head with his walking stick, which was a lovely moment. I felt bad. I turned to her and I'm like, honey, please get out of the way of his walking stick. That's Garrett Morris.
Yeah.
And she understood.
Yeah. You have to understand, honey, baseball been very, very good to him. And I think once you put it in that context, she was like, all right. Besides, and by the way, you're of course referring to Garrett Morris of Two Broke Girls. I think that's important to remind people.
Garrett Morris of It's Your Move, if we want to go real deep track.
Well, all right. But the idea that he was on Two Broke Girls with Kat Dennings means he's this close to being in the MCU. Just
it all circles back.
It does, except that's not this show.
Oh, and he showed up in Ant-Man. Oh, Garrett Morris, one of the best cameos that no one talks about except me,
except you, because you're out there defending it. Okay. So the framework for this story, the origin story. So that's what got me off on that tangent, was the idea that he was born of the frost giants, and he's so pure of heart that the warmth from inside of him saved him. It's all very sweet, and that's the problem when an outsider takes a fancy of a young lady. Somebody else is like, nope, I'm not going to stand for that. And thus begins the Santa Claus saga we all know and love, where he is left to die out in the wilderness, but rescued by wolves who he may or may not be, maybe not brothers of, but a cousin to,
Well, and that also too, it gave us a reminder of the importance of animal rescue, because he was instructed to kill all those wolves, but he saved that one cub and raised it, and so thus that that wolf keeps saving his butt repeatedly in the story. But the first time he appeared, I assumed the wolf, or she, Lily, the first time she appeared, I assumed she'd be dead by issue 5.
Yeah.
And thankfully she's not. She survives the whole run.
Yeah. And I like to imagine my Kris Kringle as someone who makes an appearance in a married woman's window and asks, how long has it been? So by the way, Dagmar here looking very much like our friend Kaylee from Once Over with Kaylee.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's the anime version of one who's sometimes known as Lucy Tightbox, a favorite on some of the shows that I'm a part of. But this is one of those, it's a classic tale as old as time, as they say, and it's just you kind of the Baron kind of messed with the wrong guy, because this isn't just Santa Claus. This is Santa Claus who may or may not be part werewolf. This is a Santa Claus who's got magic mushrooms, and I do mean magic. And this is also a Santa Claus who, he's jacked.
There's no fat. I dressed as Santa Claus many years ago. I don't think I'd be the guy you hired to play this version of Claus. I'm the one you get when you're like, well, you already got a beard, you already got some of that gut. It just takes a little bit of
Yeah.
addition to both, and voila.
Well, yeah, you would be the version where the caption under the photo would be like, "This guy goes down the chimney,"
Yeah,
something like that.
you son of a bitch.
Use, yeah, it's the Christmas spirit.
There's no
Uh,
Christmas spirit to shaming me for my
yeah, that's true.
size. How dare you? How
How
dare
dare
you,
you?
young man?
How
But
dare me?
they also show Santa through the years, and he never seems to gain weight. So that was one part of the mythology they didn't really get into.
Yeah,
Maybe,
towards the end, they explain that because of all the magic, he can't die. So we get to see actually that thing about immortals who have to put their loved ones to rest.
yeah,
Um,
the twilight of it all.
yeah, and that's not usually the Mrs. Claus part of the Santa story. Is that every, I don't know, 30 years he just trades her in for a new one, because that's the problem with these Santa Clauses.
Yeah.
They get older, he stays the same age.
Yeah,
I was a
the
little proud
idea
of that.
that
I was a
Mrs.
little proud of that one. I'm sorry.
I'm proud of you. If I had a bell, I'd ring it. Mrs. Claus, right? The idea that she's sort of like you get a new Mrs. Claus every few decades.
Yeah.
Like you put 200,000 miles on her, you put her in the ground, and you're moving on. And Lily sticks around, and Santa Claus ain't going nowhere. But yeah, Mrs. Claus always looking for an upgrade.
As we always do with these shows, I do want to go through some of the imagery that you have shared, and I think it's always a helpful way in trying to tell the story. Is sort of reminding us. And I scrolled through some of these earlier, but I think it would be appropriate to kind of take our time and actually look at these while I've been holding in a cough, trying to throw it to you as a professional would. And again, this is the one where I was like, oh, this one's a little too small. But for a visual audience and for our radio, we've got the Baron. Find him, bring him to me in bite-sized pieces. So like the fun size Snickers, right?
When here too, the Baron is just eyes and teeth, which it sort of shows also where Baron's going. Like there's a touch of Lord of the Rings. There's a little bit of Princess Bride in this thing. So if that's your wheelhouse, I think you would enjoy this story too, because he is, as you'll see, I don't want to spoil where he's going just yet, but he's got some very dark plans ahead. And so we see Baron very much tainted by this evil force.
As always, there's there are evil forces at work behind even the Baron himself, which that kind of takes some of the fun out of it.
This here for our radio audience who can't see it, but for our visual audience who can, this is when the Baron's lady knows, I recognize this wooden bird. And we find out over time because Claus made her one many years before. Apparently he's got a very distinct woodworking style. Here are the imagery of toys as far as the eye can see. That was one thing I really actually enjoy in the story, is the idea of toys as contraband.
Yes,
that he's like sneaking it in, and even the chimney is to help him sneak it. Scotty Schwartz's The Toy comes to mind for this image. These toys are useless. Baron's son, who's very spoiled, and despite his mom's best intentions, a little bit of Veruca Salt, I want to Oompa Loompa, a bit of Scotty Schwartz in The Toy to bring it back to him, of course. The idea of, I imagine this guy would also try to hire Richard Pryor or Richard Gere, but you hire them for different things.
Right. And the Baron's son, of course, his name is Jonas. He's carrying the wheel. So we have him there. So we should thank him for all he's shown us, but I'll stop right there.
This is how we feel.
All right. Well, you did it, so it's okay. But I was excited, actually. His name was Jonas. In general, you kind of get the picture of a kid who it's really the bad parenting. Like he would have been a good kid if well, it's bad dadding, I guess. Like mom even like plays with him at one point,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Are we playing with these toys?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, that seems like fun." And it's like, "What? No, the toys are for just complaining about and stomping into splinters."
I don't know if you remember that scene in Babe, not the Babe Ruth one, but the one with the pig, when we see Farmer Hoggett, played by James Cromwell's, building
Yes.
a dollhouse for his granddaughter, and he's working on it, and over the course of several scenes, and then she gets it, and she just cries and goes, "It's the wrong color," and we just
Oh, I
see him
forgot about that. Yeah.
seethe in the background. But I was thinking about that when he gets this beautiful like model built to scale that apparently took people months to build, and he
Yeah.
destroys it in seconds.
Yeah. But this was one we saw earlier where this is the mystic, I don't know, the imps, the sprites. I don't even know what these creatures were. They help him by
Keebler
creating
elves.
there. I mean, should we do a whole show on EL fudge? I don't even think that product still exists, but
We do a whole series on EL Fudge,
yeah,
not
all
just
right,
one
good.
episode.
All right, good. But there's again some of just the settings, and it really it is very impressive. But again, it's tough to not have some of the facial expressions and the evil imagery. I talked about how Klaus has a little bit of the backstory of Loki, at least from the MCU. But again, this is kind of a very Loki look for this is the Baron this time. Um, you have to let the men have their fun, Sergeant. It is Yule time after all, the time for fun. And of course, the kind of fun that they're talking about is uh, beating to death the people who are forced to work in the mines. You know,
Right, which
Very Temple of Doom of them, by the way.
yeah, and I think like Temple of Doom would have benefited from a character saying, "Aren't you guys having fun? Aren't you enjoying this? Want me to pull your heart out? Does that
Yeah.
tickle?"
Well, they'd just be like, you know what? If you hadn't asked, I wouldn't have realized that. You know, they say that the good old days are behind us, but no, these are the good times right here. You know.
I think this also here too, even it's just a close up of a medium close up of a face with a couple, word bubbles, but you see here, I mean, the drawing of it is so like specifically rendered. Like I love the sort of almost like the bone structure of their
Yeah.
faces and their bodies. I mean, I think again, this to me is the kind of drawing that really pulled me into comics.
Yeah.
Not as
Yeah.
cartoony, but not as photorealistic either.
No, and I mean honestly, if to have a momentary back in my day, the newsprint pen and ink drawings of yesteryear from the spinner rack behind me, you never had this level of sophistication and detail,
Sure.
so. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of this is great to look at. I do love you have an image where there is the sign in the background that just reminds everyone it is forbidden to wish. And that doesn't mean it's forbidden to play Terrence Trent D'Arby's hit single Wishing Well. That would probably not get the reaction to the idea. It just breaks your spirit that you are not allowed to wish for anything. And if you're
That would have
caught,
been a great cameo, is seeing Terrence Trent D'Arby getting taken away in chains, sent down to the mines for
yeah. Well, for that song, well, I think,
yeah.
yeah, and he's like, oh look, there's Nana Cherry, thanks to Buffalo Stance. But oh please, you want late '80s top 40? You've come to the right show, the Geekscape Book Club. Um,
Hear my
but
cover of Nina Cherry's "Move with Me" a little bit later. That's our after midnight
yeah,
show.
that's Geekscape After Dark. Uh, and I do love the quote though, the caption from Claus, which is, "Who's in charge here that turned an honest town into a hornet's nest of thieves and liars? Says everyone sworn in Washington D.C." regardless of the letter in parentheses next to their name. Yes, this is indeed a wretched hive of scum and villainy. But there's good people here. There's kids who they wake up and there's toys and they're like, oh, we're going to play with those toys. And the parents are like, no, 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 get the toys out of the house. You know, it's, I don't know. I mean, and I like the consistency with the Santa Claus that we know from other media. But of course, Santa Claus being a real world person who visits everyone around. Well, not everyone around the world. There's a couple of places. There's a couple spots he doesn't stop.
Santa never came to my house, but you know, the idea too that children are his unwilling accomplices is kind of fun. You know, that he's kind of like putting these. Listen, Claus has wonderful intention, but he is actually putting all these families like at risk. Like that was a part of the story I really enjoyed, was like the parents are waking up and like, no, you can't play with them. And so it's that notion of like Santa is kind of going against the wishes of the family. Like we don't think of that, you know, you always think of Santa as working in tandem with the parents, not against. And I thought that was actually a really smart spin on this. And they like one or two of the families like protect him, but a lot of them are very scared of Claus. Because he brings like an evil eye onto their household.
Well, to jump ahead a little bit, it is indeed the child that recognizes the goodness, the greatness even of Claus, who is responsible for getting him back to Lily. I think that dynamic is, it's why kids are able to, in some tellings, you're able to actually see Santa Claus. But you and I would walk right past him. We'd have no idea. Even if he looked like, if he looked like this, we would notice, right?
I think if you look like that, I don't know, my wife would consider converting.
So there is, a little bit that we get in terms of this. You don't quite. It's not a love triangle, but she's still pining away. Is her name Dagomir? I mean, these characters don't have the easiest names that roll off the tongue. Although Jonas was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie about that one.
Well, Baron's is kind of an easy name. But
that's his title. Yeah.
Unless it might also be his name. Baron.
No, that's entirely possible. But so you have selected an image, a bit of a wordy one, this exchange between her and the Baron. I do love the sort of the honesty of this, which was, if you ever loved me once, it was only because I cast a spell on you, which, by the way, isn't, it's not like Screaming Jay Hawkins put a spell on you. No, literally put a spell on you. And if he's saying that, well, that means that he cast a spell at some point, right?
Right.
She's not interested. She's still got a hole in her heart that could only be filled by Claus. I'm sorry.
Right. She got a hole in her heart that only be filled by Santa. By Jew. Your impressive cheekbones. So she does name check those.
Yes.
So Claus had to have a good body, because if Claus had a dad bod, per that line, she wouldn't even give him a second look. I'd have no shot with her. It's basically what I'm saying.
No,
I'm annoyed with her.
No, well, yeah, that's probably true. Well, you can't whittle a bird for her. I mean,
I could try.
You definitely try.
Never doubt my whittling.
Dagmar is her name. So
Dagnabbit.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. D'Agostino's. So there's really there's a lot of fun to be had here, but. And this imagery that you have here is very graphic and not to be found in any Rankin Bass animated special. But talk a little bit about
when Frosty started to melt and you could see his innards. You don't remember that? That was the version I watched.
That's funny, because the one that I read, which is the one from 2019, there is someone who got turned into a snowman. And the colder it is, the smarter he's able to be. But as soon as it starts to get warmer, he just gets kind of stupid and forgetful.
That's me.
Yeah,
I
so
can relate.
he like plunges into the depths of some body of water, and then he's like brilliant. But talk about this imagery that our visual audience is looking at.
I mean, so this was when a number of the prisoners, because one of the runners in this, also again, the iconography of Christmas used so well is they're all working in coal mines,
Yeah,
and in fact, there's even a line like, "How much coal do we need?" But you realize what they're doing is freeing this evil spirit down there in the
yeah,
mines. But here, this is when a revolt is met with, well, will suffice to say, a union negotiation tactic that I hope my own union does not find themselves on the wrong end of, because this here,
no,
and it's a graphic close up of hands, by the way, which I think is really powerful. So, like you say, it's graphic, and it is, and yet we don't quite know what we're seeing, but we feel it.
yeah.
This is some, again, the artistry of the work here. I mean, it's just really top level.
Yeah, no, this is the kind of union uprising where the chief negotiator disappears and ends up in the foundation of Giant Stadium. You know, so you got to be careful with these
But
kinds of things.
I think Jimmy Hoffa's body wouldn't even be caught dead in the new Giant Stadium the way they're playing.
Oh, and by they you mean either resident and
No, doesn't,
yeah.
right. Every New York, New Jersey football team, yes.
Well, yeah, the New Jersey ones. The one football team that's in New York is actually having
Buffalo.
another great season. Shout out to my friend Carl up in Rochester. Good times for them. So, I do like that he gets his happy ending for as long as it can be happy. This is sort of something we referenced earlier, which is he's immortal, and that's the problem with mortals is that they don't have the im
Yeah.
before there, you know?
And I think this is a really interesting way to render it for our wireless radio audience. Here, it's a series of images of Klaus and Dogma, whatever her name was, D'Agostino, over time, and it's them embracing, but she's aging. Um,
Yeah.
and it's done in a way that's like really beautiful. And then I think the next, I don't think I even grabbed it, but the next page, I believe, is her funeral. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is,
This is
listen,
before that, right?
right, when you
Yeah.
wrestle with Krampus,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a little burnt.
Yeah. But yeah, the image that you had though is was followed by her funeral, which I thought
Yeah,
was a nice touch. Yeah, so we get some good looking Krampus stuff, and this shot is a little out of sequence, but the Baron this is like mid episode 2 Senator Palpatine, you know,
yeah.
when we know who he is but not everyone else. So yeah, I think that there are more of these stories as evidenced by the fact that I read one that we didn't really cover today.
So
So
the one you read was like, it was like the return of Claus, like
well,
Claus.
it was just like, the continuing adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, but in this instance, Buckaroo Banzai was Santa Claus. So the one that I read, the first part of it is called The Crying Snowman. And then there was another thing that was The Life and Times of Joe Christmas, which was just a series of splash pages, which was interesting. But the Crying Snowman was actually, it was a very dark, not as dark as that movie Jack Frost with Shannon Elizabeth, where just something terrible happens to her because of a snowman. But it's also hysterical.
But not the Michael Keaton Jack Frost.
No,
the horror Jack Frost.
Yeah, this is a horror movie, Jack Frost. So anyway, my point though in referencing it is I'd be up for revisiting this iteration of Claus, but I do think that I'd be nervous if this was the Claus entering my home in the early morning hours of December 25th. Mostly because of how handsome he is. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Right. About to say, like, I think you might become a bit of a single man if this Claus came down your chimney. It'd be hard to.
The kids would go too. You know,
Yeah.
I'd be a confirmed Melendez. What were you gonna say?
Well, for yourself, okay. So your kids are young. Do you still what role does Santa Claus play in your home?
We went to Santa's Village up in Lake Arrowhead because I didn't know if you realized that that's where Santa's Village is up in the mountains of Southern California. And we had breakfast with him, and he knew what they wanted. My daughter just turned 8. My son's 10, so it's a very tenuous time for their relationship, their interaction with Santa, But we go to Santa's Village every 2 years. So if we were to continue that trend, my son would be 12 and my daughter 10. So I'm not quite sure. That's why we did our best to enjoy this time there. It's very sweet. It's nice up there. You get a good picture. Santa reads a story to the kids, and I'm not gonna lie, the breakfast buffet is all you can eat. It didn't used to be. It used to just be you order off a menu, and that was a real gift.
So that you can look a little more like real Santa, and not
right, exactly. I don't. Yeah, it's like, oh, did you stuff the pillow in there so you look like Santa? Those hard pillows. So yeah,
so I don't know if you were at my storytelling where I shared my tale of being a woefully underprepared Santa.
Because I don't believe I was. Yeah,
this is maybe a year or two ago, and I realized, this was, my kids were pretty young at the time, but I realized like I dressed as Santa it was a foster care organization. It was a special Christmas party they did for the kids. And I got asked to be Santa, which is never a compliment, by the way. It's not like they ask you to be Santa because, oh my God,
if they asked you to be Klaus,
I would take the chiseled cheekbones, sure, but not the Klaus I was playing. And I realized as I put on the costume, and I did have to stuff a bit, there was some pillow in there, and my beard it's got gray in it, but
you were the only Santa Claus that was like a member of Spinal Tap, where you had a cucumber wrapped in tin foil.
I thought that was part of the lore. I didn't realize it wasn't. I got
like, no, this isn't that kind of Santa. This is
no,
where kids tell him what they want. Oh my God, no cucumber at this.
Oh no, my mistake. I'm sorry, y'all, because I've never sat on Santa's lap growing up.
No, you're not allowed to, actually.
No, it'll burn you. It's like drinking holy water. It'll kill me from the inside. And so I sat down and I realized, like, oh, what am I supposed to say to these kids? Like, I've seen all the Santa movies. I found myself in a relationship with what will be known as a shiksa or two along the way. So I have some experience here, but I didn't really think about, like, well, these are foster kids. Am I supposed to tell them, oh, yeah, I'll give you whatever you want? Because these kids already have gone through plenty.
Yeah, and so you don't want Santa to lie to them. By the way, you're talking about how you'd seen Christmas Story. Did you think, like, okay, I just let them talk and then I kick them down the slide?
There was no slide. There wasn't even that kid in line with them who's got the aviator glasses on. I like Santa. I was hoping for that kid. I didn't get him.
You didn't get any of it. Yeah.
First kid who sat in my lap immediately tested me. He goes, "What's the name of all your reindeer?"
Oh shit.
And I realized I knew about 2 or 3, and then I started making up names, Menachem, Harshal, whatever. It's like, who are they? I'm like, well, I mean, the reindeer, they've retired. They're really old now, so we got new ones. And I don't think the kid bought it.
No.
That little shit.
So this is why the department store Santa, you have to take a test.
Oh yeah.
I that that they're Donner and Dancer and let's see, and Dopey and Doc and Sleepy,
Curly
and
Shemp,
and
Joe Besser,
Larry Fortensky. So you have to kind of go through the list a little bit. No, I did not know that you had done that.
It was.
I was thinking for a second.
Long December.
By the way, as you were talking about that, I'm like, oh yeah, well, Santa was a Jew, and I'm like, oh no, sorry, that's Jesus.
No, Jesus.
My guy's confused. Yeah.
I'm about to say, except for a few Israelis, not many Jews look like Klaus.
By the way,
and Goldberg, maybe.
This seems like the time to put out into the cosmos Santa Claus Superstar. I would definitely watch. I would love to see that.
Hell yeah.
You know, but in any case, I recommend this if you're not ready to say goodbye to Christmas, or if you're seeing this in the future. I think it's a fun read. I'd be interested in reading more of these stories, not just the one that I already read. So maybe we'll revisit this in a future Christmas. Now, a lot of times, a couple of times, what we've done, we've only been doing the show for a few years, but like last year, I went through and I named what we were going to read for the first few months of 2025. And I'm going to tell you that I'm not able to do that at the moment because the release date schedules of Marvel and DC in particular, I'm really hoping they nail some things down over the next month, because I thought that the Lanterns TV series had an actual premiere date. It does not. It's just early 2026, and bit of a bummer for me. But there was a date for Daredevil. Now it's spring 2026. So
they really have not thought about you at all in their planning.
Well, and then that leads me to what I told you before we started, is that our show Marvel Movie Talk the plan was to come back in a weekly fashion to talk about the new Wonder Man series, except for the fact that they're releasing it binge style, all 8 episodes on January 29th. So we are not going to talk about all 8 episodes at once, but I think what we will do is we'll talk about the first 2. And, on the 29th or 30th, that's you're going to have to check your local listings, as they say. And by that, you should just follow us on social media. We'll give you our handles before we get out of here. But I was reading through a list of Wonder Man stories. And how familiar are you with Wonder Man? For me, I really got to know a lot about him because he was in the inaugural class of the West Coast Avengers. And I was just excited anytime there was a new ongoing series where I could get in at issue number 1. So I love the West Coast Avengers. Regular Avengers were pretty good, but I love the West Coast Avengers,
Well, I was a fan of it because of Hawkeye getting such prominence. I always thought Hawkeye was kind of a fascinating guy just because he doesn't really have superpowers like the rest of them. And so, something to be said for a dude who's just a dude.
Those characters are always are always interesting. I mean, the Punisher, at the end of the day, just a dude. I mean,
just a dude,
a super badass dude
a man with a man's courage, as Flash Gordon once said. Actually, he never said it.
It was said of him. Yeah,
of him, right?
Of him.
New York Jets.
Yeah, that's right. Good times. I was just thinking of Sam Jones was at the first time I ever went to LA Comic-Con, and the show I was working for at the time filmed something with him that they never used. And oh my gosh, look at that! You have Flash Gordon right there. But back to Simon Williams, the AKA Wonder Man. So I was a very big West Coast Avengers. I loved the West Coast Avengers. I dare say more than the regular Avengers at this point. And this is sort of my favorite era of Iron Man because it's the forgotten armor that's not the yellow or gold and red scheme. He's the silver Centurion armor. And there's Wonder Man right there. And Mockingbird, who's also just a gal. And Tigra, who I always read as Tigra, but then somebody's like, no, it's Tigra because she's like a tiger. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. But so it's been a while since I've read something with Wonder Man, and there was a suggested reading list. But the thing that really struck me is going to be our January 2026 installment here on the Geekscape Book Club. Now, I don't know why it's called Avengers 2. I assume because it's 2 members of the Avengers. But Hank McCoy at this point is a member of the X-Men. So that's why it's he was, of course, on the Avengers at one point. But yeah, he was even on the New Defenders. I think he might have even been on the Champions. So what I'm trying to say is Hank McCoy gets around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do love the creative team here because Roger Stern, responsible for one of my favorite eras of Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, when I was first reading it. So the fact that he wrote this is exciting. And then the penciler, I was going to say the art comes from, but the penciler, Mark Bagley, he did a number of runs on different Spider-Man titles, but the best little known fact about him is that he won the Marvel tryout book in the mid 80s. He actually submitted through that magazine, and he actually became an actual employee, an artist. And he was at Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario this summer. I was there with my son, and he signed a poster for free, and he even drew a little spider on my son's hand. He asked if it was all right first, which I appreciated. I said, "Thank you, Mark Bagley, for asking if you could do it," and not just being like, "Hang on, I'm gonna
draw on your children.
I'm gonna Post Malone your kid's face with this tattoo gun." So, in any case, I'm excited about the creative team. So this is from the year 2000, all the way back.
The year 2000.
The future, Conan? Yes, the year 2000. And this is a bit of a blind spot for me because I had stopped reading all comics at this point. I had hung on to the X-Men till pretty close to this time, but I wasn't reading anything at this point. So there'll probably be a lot of continuity confusion. So I can't say for sure what we'll be reading in February. There are some months, Supergirl will come out in July, and Daredevil, we did the Born Again series last year, but there are going to be other arcs we can pick. So we might do that in March. So I'm trying to buy us another month before I try to map out.
I'll be okay. I'll keep my February only in pencil.
Yeah, well, it's only 28 days, so it should make
later.
The Bone Temple,
Bone Temple,
yeah, coming out. And I'm trying to also not look to February because in February I'll be turning 50. So I'm 50 years old. And so if I only look at January, I'm not 50 yet. So we'll keep that.
We'll skip right to March. We won't even do your birthday. Stay 49 forever.
No, I need cake. But anyway, so yeah, that's going to be, if you want to take it upon yourself to read Avengers 2, Wonder Man and the Beast. I don't know if the initial search told me that it had not been ever collected, but in a trade paperback, but you can read it on Marvel Unlimited, which is where I read everything because I got a good deal on it at Comic-Con because I wanted a Herbie. I got to keep the Herbie the Love Bug pin right here because I talk about this all the time. And if I could show you not Herbie the Love Bug,
Herbie Villages.
Herbie Villages. No.
That's what you got.
Yeah. But so Herbie from Fantastic Four. In any case, so we'll be back January 29th or 30th. We need time to watch these first two. By the way, I learned when the Netflix Marvel shows would be released binge style. I was doing a number of shows with my friend Zia over at AfterBuzz TV, and they wanted us to do standalone episodes for each one as people binged it. But we had watched further ahead, so we weren't very good at keeping it to.
You lost track, right?
Yeah. So this is what we need to do: is we have to get our panel together. Only watch 2 episodes. So we have to say, David Brody, you can't watch all 8, and he's probably going to say, "I'm out."
No, listen. Would you trust any Mets fan at this point?
Why'd you have to go there?
I'm sorry,
but I've got Grimace keeping me happy, and they can't trade him, or can they? Can they trade him to Wendy's? I don't know. And I, of course, still have my my Loki's
I mean, and listen, with age, it's only going to get more valuable and healthier.
It's going to taste better, is what I think you're trying to say.
It has like a 3-year half-life. Just be warned. 3 years from now, it might be a little bad to be near it.
Eric, it's been a fun year here at the book club. I always enjoy getting the opportunity to read these things, and thank you for being in the sidecar and the motorcycle of destiny. I'm not quite sure where that phrase was in my head, but it sounds like a thing. But
Always proud to be your Robin to your Adam West.
That's right, old chum. And don't forget, citizens, if you can go back and check out some of the panel we did at LA Comic-Con, which was a lot of fun talking about Secret Wars. This upcoming year is the 40th anniversary of Secret Wars 2. But man, there's a lot of tie-ins to that. And what I really want to do some focus on is the new universe, which I don't know if you read any of those titles, but most of them were very bad. So we'll do.
I just like my Beyonder, like even hunkier than Klaus.
Yeah. And I have something in mind for a panel I want to do at Comic-Con Revolution in May, but I'm not going to say it because the last time I submitted a panel, somebody else submitted one that was so similar that they said, no, you can't do it. So I'm keeping it under wraps. In any case, we appreciate everybody who hangs out here at the book club, and of course our other show, Marvel Movie Talk. Once they release these all 4 of these teaser trailers for Doomsday, I think we'll do maybe a short little wrap up on that. But I couldn't find the Thor one, so I'm like, all right, this is already more trouble than it's worth. So we'll do that in the near future. But don't worry, you'll get plenty of us in 2026. And Eric, if people want more of you and they just can't wait, where can they find you on social media?
Well, I am in the shadows of because they belong to me. At Count Eric Connor over on X and Instagram. And I just listen, I hope we make it to 2026. It's been a long year, and this has been one of the things that's helped make the year go by and help elevate all the all the chaos and as we say in the Yiddish, the surus of 2025 definitely was ameliorated with Marvel Movie Talk, with Geekscape Book Club. So I thank you, Santa Bladt, for allowing me to be to be the sidecar on this adventure. So much obliged.
You can't be Cirrus XM, to borrow a turn of phrase. And
Right.
by the way, let's have some full screen irony. I mean, there's only 6 days left in the year. What could possibly go wrong? I'm sure there'll be a 2026 that'll be ironically shown in a highlight reel with Michael Stipe singing in the background. But we had a good run. Let's be honest. Hey, and if that happens, I don't have to worry about turning 50. So always look on the bright side of life, as they say. So if you want more of me,
I always want more of you.
I'm on social media at Christian DMZ.
You are?
And my personal podcast, the Blattcast, BLADTCAST. We have had some special episodes lately. Eric was a part of our 666th episode, which was a truly evil affair. You might want to check that out to see who we were on with. And I did have a 6-7 Christmas with my buddy Will Sterling and Husey, and we did our annual Silent Night, Deadly Night recap, where we got to the 3rd movie, which yikes. So we also talked about the new reboot. Did you know there was a reboot of Silent Night, Deadly Night that was out? It was actually very good.
And the reviews were surprisingly kind.
Yeah. And we had on that show from Once Over with Kaylee, my friend Kaylee, aka Lucy Tightbox, Nasty Neil, and Nicholas Greystone, who once upon a time gave a ride back to Long Island to a former announcer for The Tonight Show. And of course, I'm talking about Ed Hall. That was the former Tonight Show announcer.
All he does is give rides to him and McMahon, Don Pardo.
And Husey was on that too. Husey's been on my show a lot lately. And I'm very pro Husey, and I look forward to having him on with us in the next year. So you can check all that out, and of course, the show that I do Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Who Are These Broadcasters is on the Who Are These Podcast YouTube channel. We had our Christmas special with Don Jameson and Craig Gass, and also some other fun episodes of late. So you can find all that stuff out there. In any case, I hope everybody remembers that the reason for the season is so that we can all say Happy Life Day, Chewy. And I hope that everyone has a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. And we will see you at the movies, but we'll also see you in 2026 right here on the Geekscape Book Club talking about Wonder Man and the Beast, because as long as they keep writing them, we'll keep reading them. Happy New Year.